Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another episode of the Chocolate Shake. Well, inshallah, today I'd like to talk about this debate that came on last night. That will be September 8th, I believe, 2024, between former President Donald Trump and present Vice President Kamala Harris. So let's get this show on the road. Of course, for those people who are looking for anything that was substantive, then you wasted your time, because they talked about nothing that would affect the average working American's life as far as I'm concerned. The things that they spoke about basically were recaps and attacks on each other that we have already known about. We've heard about these things already. We've already heard about them in the news. They've cycled now since Kamala Harris was chosen to be the person that's going to run for president on the Democratic ticket. The attacks that came from the Trump campaign and the attacks that came from the Harris campaign are things we've heard over and over and over again. So we learn nothing. Everybody know what President or former President Trump is. We know what he is. We know what he's about. We know what he wants. We know that he's nothing but a tool for those persons on the Republican side who are oligarchs. He's a tool for the oligarchs. He himself is a billionaire and come from billionaires. And his objective is very simple. He's not lying about it. He's making the tax breaks and the cuts and everything that he needs to do to empower people like him. He believes, he thrives on the philosophy that these rich power brokers deserve to run the world. They deserve to be handed not only financial power, but they should also be given the political power in tandem with the financial power so that they can run the world. And he and his ilk believe that these people are best suited to do this. Leave it in the hands of the great, powerful white men. We got you. We're going to take care of the rest of the world. Don't worry. We'll give you the crumbs from the table that will take care of you. We're going to make sure you guys have some little houses to live in, some little apartments. We'll make sure you guys are able to buy cars and get married. We'll take care of you like that, all right? All right, we're just going to give you a little bit now because, we have to have the most, but we will take care of you. Now, we know that this is what the Republican Party has sold out to long time ago. This is what they are about. And they make no bones about it, right? Trickle-down economics that came from Ronald Reagan when he was president. That's what it was all about, right? Trickle down. They're telling you, we're giving you the crumbs off of the table. They're literally telling you, yeah, whatever trickles down, you take it and you be satisfied with it. So the Democratic Party is what the people looked at, right? It was supposed to be the People's Party. So if you were working class, if you're a part of a union, if you happen to be a person that was pushed to the margins of society, like Black Americans, this is the party that you came to with your grievances. And then this party would give an alternative to the previous party that we spoke about, right? The Republicans. The Democrats are supposed to be an alternative. But since Bill Clinton, and really it started with Jimmy Carter, some of it, but most of it was turned over by Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's administration basically took the playbook from the Republicans, and he used that and basically took the Democratic Party that was a working man's party into yet another Republican Party. I saw that coming. I remember talking about it when everybody was talking about running behind Bill Clinton the same way they are Kamala Harris right now. And I told everybody then, you better watch out, man. This guy's nothing but a Republican. He's a soft Republican. And now all these years later, all these administrations later, what I saw as a young man about Bill Clinton has come true. So now we know that Bill Clinton too is a part of that system of making sure that the rich and the wealthy, those people who are the financiers, those people who take up Wall Street, that these people are being looked out for. Not the common man, not us on Main Street, but those who are on Wall Street. Their interests are being looked out for, and to the degree where it's painfully obvious that it hurts us, those of us who are on Main Street. So now we know We have two sold out oligarchical powers that both political parties are now in the hands of the rich, as people are saying now on social media. It's one bird with two wings. That's all that is. You have one bird, one system, and it has two little wings, right? The Democrats here and the Republicans here. And this is what we're left with in America. And America has been pushed further and further and further to the right, to the point where now, we're going off a cliff because we have no party that's kind of anchoring us down, or at least we don't have any party that could become seriously legitimate because of the other two parties working against them. So even when we try to have a three-party system, or you try to open up where other parties can come in, the Democrats on one side and Republicans on the other are actually crushing the ability for other parties to become viable, especially the Democrats. The Democrats are worse than Republicans on this. The Democrats are actually putting in people who are in these cities that are running as Green Party members who are not Green Party members. They are taking the Green Party to court. They're suing them for every little thing. They're rejecting or having paperwork rejected, since the Democrats have a certain control over the political apparatus at this moment because they have the power. The president is Democrat at the moment. And they're tying up third-party candidates, even candidates that ran as Democrats, like Marianne Williamson, for instance. They have even made sure that they don't even give her an opportunity to debate on a stage. This is the Democratic Party's convention controllers, right? Won't even let the woman say, well, look, I'm a Democrat and I have some different ideals. My ideals may be a little more progressive or a little more to the left. No, the Democrats shut her down. And that's your biggest way to know that the Democrats are no longer the party of the people. They are now the party of the rich. They're the second party of the rich. So in America, there is no party for the people except the Green Party and some of the other smaller parties that are out there that are getting no type of news recognition. I mean, you could tell even the news itself, right? The people who ABC, CBS, NBC, NBC, Fox, all the ones on the right, all of them are controlled by the rich. And they will not let these other voices come out because these other voices actually have solutions. And if we get people power through those voices, we'll knock those rich people right out of power. See, that's what it's really about. It's about the rich making sure that they do everything in their power to keep those voices down so they never have a challenge. But what they will allow is the circus that we saw last night. It's a circus. We have two people, both, and neither one of them are smart. I say that too. I don't believe that Trump is a smart man. And I do not believe that Kamala Harris is a smart woman. They're just not smart. And to hear them debate last night, to hear Kamala Harris and her, just coming off of what it is that she's memorized. She's not quick on her feet. She can't even think and be serious about what she really believes in because she has no real belief. She's an empty suit. And Trump is almost like deranged, right? He has that rich white man syndrome. They're so detached from reality. They're so detached from people like us that when they speak, they believe to themselves that what they're saying is reasonable. But when we hear it as common folk, they sound insane. It shows you that the world that he lives in is not the world that we live in. Right? He lives in the world of the billionaire class and always has since childhood. So of course he's going to sound alien to average Americans. So when he opens his mouth, to him, he sounds intelligent. And I guess to other people who might be, who live like him, he might sound like, hey, that makes some sense. But for the commoner who has struggled with their lives, working class people who have to think through things and really be sharp about our lives, otherwise we'll end up in jail or unemployed or dead or diseased or homeless. We really have to think. We really have to be smart. We really have to go out and get an education. We really have to go out here and grind and bump off of other human beings and make our way. And in the process of doing that, the working class people become sharp. We become the sharp instrument that can think, that can be reasonable, that are going to do the things that are necessary to save ourselves, right? We are the true people who can surf. We learn how to jump on that surfboard and surf because we've had to. There's nobody out here to take care of us. There's nobody out here looking out for us. So we've had two candidates that have shown me that they're not smart. They're not smart. I'm not saying they're unintelligent. You know, they're smart enough to be where they are, but they're not smart. What do we get in the debate? To show you how oligarchical these two candidates are and the two parties are. What matters to the working class? The economy. The economy was spoken about by both candidates, but no solution to homelessness. Didn't even mention homeless. No solution to the housing crisis or the housing shortage. I think Kamala made some little blip of a comment about it, but it was no real solution because what she put forward as some type of help for the working class to get homes, that little solution she had, so-called solution, was nothing but crumbs off the table. Here we are all over again to prove my point. So now the Democrats, they want to flick crumbs off the table to you by, we'll give you a tax break. And that'll give you, $25,000 freed up, if you want to be serious about trying to buy a little piece of property. That's what we get. No serious solution about how it is that we rein in all of these companies, these big companies that are buying up all these properties all over America. Every major city, you have these big financial companies coming in. And these financial companies are buying up all of the land. And then they take their houses and then rent them, right? So you could become a renter, but not an owner, because some big company somewhere in California or Oregon has now come to Atlanta and they're buying up every house they can get their hands on. That's not touched. Know why that's not touched? Because you have some lobbyists pulling the coattail of both people running for president and telling them, hey, we want to sit down and talk to you. We want you to leave that issue alone, and we got some money for you. It's just that simple. At the Democratic convention, they actually showed us at the top where all of the billionaires were sitting and all these big companies. They were sitting at the top, the lobbyists and everybody. And they said that each one of those rooms was about $1 million to $5 million to be able to get that room. And those oligarchs and the rich were actually up top looking down on the Democratic convention. That's how bad it is, right? They're not even afraid with the regular people. They're up there looking down, making sure that all their little puppets in the Democratic Party do exactly what they want them to do. And then we're to believe that just because you give some type of tax break or some type of little $25,000 where people could try to, maybe make a go at getting a piece of property, because if you go out there to get it, I guarantee you that these other bigger companies will swipe that house right up from under you. So what is that? What are we supposed to be buying out here? Okay, so the point I'm making here is no solutions. So think back to when Bernie Sanders ran for president. And I was one of those persons who supported Bernie. And we saw what the Democratic Party did to Bernie. Bernie was winning that election. And one call from Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and all the other people on that stage that were running for president at that time, all of them caved in and said, no, we're going to give our support to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was running in fourth place after Bernie, Buttigieg, I forgot the white female that was running, and the other white female who said she had Indian heritage. I forget her name at the moment. These people become insignificant because they hadn't done anything. right? But Biden was running fourth behind all of them. That was Elizabeth Warren, correct? Elizabeth Warren. He was running fourth behind Elizabeth, Buttigieg, and Bernie. Oh my God. That's where he was. Now, Barack Obama sinks Bernie Sanders, get everybody to coalesce behind Biden, and we get Biden in there. He barely wins the election over Trump the first time. Definitely wasn't going to win this time, right? And again, I don't think that Kamala Harris is going to win. I just don't think that America is going to put a black female on top of them. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. I think Donald Trump's going to win this election. But everything that Bernie spoke about, nothing is being spoken about now by the Democratic Party. The very things that 70% plus people almost on everything Bernie Sanders spoke about. 70% plus of Americans, I didn't say Democrats, I said Americans. That's the Republicans and the Democrats supported what Bernie Sanders was saying, right? He was looked at as an outsider, and people liked to hear what he was saying. And everybody would say, well, what is wrong with what it is he's saying, right? Only when the oligarchs would put their attack dogs out there on him, calling him a socialist, and he's, trying to bring back, communism. He want to take people to public squares and kill them. Remember the man said that on CNN, which is why I could barely tolerate looking at that organization anymore, because they let that slide. They let that man say that and let that slide. So no talk of a new Green Deal. That's out. No talk about reparations for Black Americans. That's out. No police bills. Nothing. All of that stuff. 66 million Americans were in the streets to get police reform. We want a police reform bill. Biden said right there and promised that to black folks. We stood up in Georgia and in Pennsylvania, where he needed those two states to win, and we delivered it. And he said right there and put us last. And when people ask him about the bill, hey man, what you gonna do about that? He started telling us about the Latinos. Oh, you don't need to be worried about you need to be worried about the Latinos. They're gonna be the next group or the next biggest minority in this country, which is false. Because the Latinos, that just means that you come from a particular area. It don't mean that you're one ethnic group. Latinos don't think alike. Latinos are different. Some Latinos are Cuban. Some Latinos are Guatemalan. Is a Guatemalan and Cuban the same? No, they're not the same. So let's not play games. Is a Mexican and a Brazilian the same? No, they're not the same. They don't even speak the same language. Is a person from the Honduras the same as a person from Puerto Rico? Hondurans and Puerto Ricans the same? No, they're not the same. They're different. But Black Americans, we are one ethnic group. Those of us who are descendants of slavery. And we could be anywhere from 35 million to about 45 million of us right now in this country. We are a nation within a nation. And we are one people from one background, speaking one language, basically with one culture. Right? We have a wide culture, and of course we might have some subdivisions of the culture, but it's still Black American culture. We are one people. Our 35 to 45 million people, we are one culture. And that's when you shave off the people that come from the Caribbean, and you shave off the people who are Black that come from Africa, and you shave off the Blacks that come from Europe. You still will have 35 to 45 million Black Americans who are descendants of slavery in this country. We are one people. So no, the Latinos are not going to catch up to 35 to 45 million people. They will not, right? Now, people who speak Spanish might, but they don't see themselves the same. I just had that conversation a couple of days ago in one of the cigar bars that I go to sit down and smoke a cigar. The woman was just saying that, hey, I'm a Dominican, and we are not like the people from Spain. We are not like the people that come in from Guatemala and Mexico. We're different. Even our Spanish and how we express ourselves, everything is different. Of course we know that. Of course we know that. So for him to say that to Black Americans was a slap in the face, and he needed to be corrected. So again, no policy speak that came from the Bernie Sanders campaign. Nothing that was progressive that will really help the working class. No rescheduling of certain drugs. That wasn't talked about, right? Rescheduling marijuana and other drugs that could help us in our medical lives. People who need these drugs to be rescheduled so they could be used to be tested for certain types of diseases. Because we know medical marijuana is a thing. We know it works. We know that mushrooms, all these things work. We know this. And we have to get these things rescheduled so it can help people. And we need them to be rescheduled so that we could stop some of this criminal activity that happened in challenging communities. Communities where this stuff is being sold illegally, and it's causing death, and it's causing destruction, and it's upsetting our families. It's putting our men in jail. These things need to be rescheduled, and they need to be made legal in this secular society. And we'll talk about, Sheikh, how could you say that, Sheikh? You know, you're a Muslim. We could deal with that later. This is a secular society we live in. We don't live in an Islamic society. And this secular society, it operate by a whole nother type of rules. We people who are believing people, you know what you need to stay away from. We know what's halal and we know what's haram. We know what's legal and we know it's illegal for us by way of God. All you have to do is follow your religion. I'm talking about what's going on here in the secular community. No talk of criminal justice reform. Nothing about that. No health care for all, except that the moderators brought it up to point out that both candidates flip-flopped on it to some degree, right? We know that Kamala Harris flip-flopped on it, right? She don't know where she is with health care for all or even Obamacare. And Trump, he couldn't even give you a plan. He just said, well, I'm against Obamacare. I'm just against that. And we'll come up with something, right? So this is what we are. We got nothing from these people except attacks on one another and hearing this old refurbished nonsense that we've been hearing from both parties attacking each other for the last month or so, since Kamala was chosen to be the person to run for president on the Democratic side. Even the economic talk, it was shallow, nothing deep to help the average American. Only crumbs off the table. So I got about 4 or 5 calls and about 3 text messages for people wanting me to say whatever I had to say about this. This is my opinion on it. Again, this is trash. They are feeding the American population nothing. We're out here starving as Americans. As with all these resources this country has, with all of these resources, we could do so much better and really be a great country. But the oligarchs have it in the palm of their hands, and they're showing you they're not going to let it go. So what do we get? We get crumbs. What do we get? We get circus. We get entertainment. With 2 hours worth of entertainment from 2 clumsy, bumbling idiots. That's what we get. So where do I stand? Who do you vote for? Where do you go if you feel like the Sheikh? I personally now have narrowed myself down to the Green Party. The Green Party actually has a platform that I believe in. I'm looking at everybody else. I'm like, I don't believe in anything else except what it is that our brother Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West has to say. And unfortunately, Dr. Cornel West is out there by himself. He doesn't have an apparatus around him. So I went back to the Green Party, looked at their platform, and wowee, there it is. Something I actually believe in. These people actually have a platform that I believe in. So I will be supporting Dr. Jill Stein and Dr. Rudolph Ware as president and vice president in the Green Party. That's what I'll be doing. So if you have anything you want to say about this, leave it in the comments and I'll take it up with you. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like. And if you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. We appreciate y'all. Pray all is well. Peace.